I am here with Alessandro Croti. Did I say
That's
that right? Hey, I
That's
did it.
right.
Founder, founder and CEO of Direct Your Bookings. He's a direct booking coach for independent hotels, coming to us from Thailand. How are you?
That's right. I'm good. Yourself? Hi, Jason.
I'm well. I'm well. Are you? Where are you from originally?
Italy.
Italy. Yeah. Okay, that's what I was going to say, but I'm usually
Yeah,
wrong, so
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, no, typical Italian name actually, Alessandro. But yeah, I'm originally from Italy, but not been living in Italy for now 5, 6 years or so. Yeah, kind of traveling around. I like being
Yeah.
location independent.
Yeah. Hospitality professionals. They're all kinds of people all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
your background covers. You spent some time at World Hotels, Cosmo Hotel, even Sheraton. You did some work at Medip and Zena Lab. So
Uh-huh.
you've done all kind of interesting work. And most recently, I'd noticed that you were presenting at ARMA's Revenue Management Summit. And
Exactly.
yeah, I think that was called Where Marketing Meets Revenue and Distribution.
That's right. That's the name of my workshop, or the workshop that I conducted for them. Yeah.
So tell us. So historically, these are three different departments or three different people, typically, right?
Well, three, more likely two, in the sense that usually who looks after revenue also looks after distribution. Usually, it's not always. It really depends on the structure of the hotel. But yeah, ideally would be three. Not ideally, actually, because exactly what I said is that we will need to bring them together. But usually they work as 2/3 different silos. Yes.
So hit some of the high points of your presentation. How should these functions come together?
Well, the best way I had to explain the overall topic was not about saying and telling the theory, but I actually brought a couple of case studies, actually 2.5, in the sense that the third one was a little bit offline, but essentially was two different case studies. One based on data and distribution, and the second one was based specifically on the situation, more likely on a marketing standpoint and more likely on a strategic standpoint. The first one really about data was essentially, because revenue essentially are very, very, very much data oriented from that point. And I brought an analogy, and my analogy, the original analogy was like a coin, like a revenue and marketing, the two sides of the same coin. And then recently I came up with a new analogy, which my actually personal opinion is actually even better, which is like the human brain, and the two hemispheres of the human brain, like the left hemisphere, which is more logical, statistical, rational, which seems more like a revenue department of a hotel,
Right.
and the right side, which is more creative, imaginative, and all this kind of stuff, which is more likely related to marketing stuff. And I said, okay, but can these two hemispheres work independently, one from another? And that's, of course, not. And the same thing is about the revenue and marketing. They cannot. As a matter of fact, my goal was, okay, let's break down the silos between these two different departments. And the two case studies, like I said, the first one was based on data, and data very simple. I mean, I try to be, to have the people, really understand with a very simple case study. And the simple case study was based on essentially Rev Analytics, which is the tool that I created, which kind of combined Google Analytics data, organic Google Analytics data, with some custom data that you need to put in place with a bit of coding. And that custom data, in my case, is pretty much a revenue-related data. And I simply combined two metrics. Well, actually, two dimensions. The first one was about countries, all right? So essentially, it's looking at numbers in terms of where people were searching from, which more likely is a marketing-oriented KPI. And on the other side, combined with what I call peak demand dates. In other words, for which dates that people were mostly looking for. So for example, in January, February, whatever it is, this hotel got, I don't know, 1,000 requests, okay, for which date people were looking for. And because the original thing was that, okay, for example, Australia was driving a lot of traffic, meaning the hotel was driving a lot of traffic, but not converting much. And by drilling down and specifically into the details of the actual demand in terms of dates, we found out that specifically people from Australia were looking for, well, back then Easter dates, all right? So it was around the weekend of the 7th up to the 12th, well, 8th up to the 12th of April 2020. And but the hotel, which was based in Singapore, was not converting. And the reason was very simple. The distribution, so the OTAs, were actually in quotes stealing those bookings by essentially undercutting hotel rates without the hotel being aware of it. And the case study that I brought is that, okay, let's have a look, in the sense that, okay, this is the case study, sorry, this is the scenario. Let's connect to Australia. So I simulate a booking search as if I was in Australia by using a VPN. And we found out totally different results as opposed to the exact same search as if I was in Singapore, which was the country of the hotel. And that was the case study. So how to bring them together, because in a normal case, bring them together, it was impossible essentially to understand what was the business loss. The second one was more likely a strategic, let's say, case study, or more kind of, more related to the current situation, the current scenario post-COVID. And the case study was for a hotel in Switzerland, one hotel of mine, which is in the Italian, canton, so the Italian-speaking region of Switzerland. The last week of May, the government decided to announce the opening borders for the upcoming month, respectively for people coming in from France, Germany and Austria, but not from Italy on the south, because Italy back then was still a bad situation in terms of infection. And what we did is essentially nothing but a post-engagement campaign on Facebook, all right? So pretty much a marketing-oriented thing. And I said, okay, but you revenue management, you guys working revenue management, you revenue manager, can you actually work by simply now, can you actually just wait for the demand to come up? Or can we do something similar to what we did for this hotel in Switzerland, where we are not approaching the effective demand, right? So all those people who are actively and proactively searching and entering the querying hotel plus destination on Google, but can we actually reach out to the latent demand, which more likely all those people in those what I call dreaming phase or even unaware phase, by simply try to engage with them. And the simple case was that in 3 days, actually 2.5 days of campaign with an average spend, a total spend of less than 13 euros, so really nothing, peanuts, we got like 10 requests, half of them converted with an ADR of 200 Swiss franc. Actually don't remember this total revenue, bear with me. But the point is that we were not trying to sell, but we sold, all right? So the hotel sold, because selling without selling, and that was extremely powerful. The point is, can the revenue manager be involved in all this process? And I really think so, because when it comes to targeting people, all right, so what's the target that we want in our hotel? That's where the new role of the revenue manager, in my opinion, to be. And those are, in very few words, what happened, and two case studies that I thought.
Yeah. So we have about a minute left. I mean, what advice would you give, let's say, revenue managers right now?
To revenue managers, well, like actually, if you are not, let's say, because the situation is that a lot of revenue managers don't really have visibility into what happened on the other side of the bench, meaning on the marketing side of the bench. And if they don't, I will say, okay, let's try to push and try to, stand up and in a way, try to let them understand eventually your bosses or your management that you actually need that data. That's the best thing that I can actually say and suggest.
And they can always engage somebody like yourself, but they can engage marketing consultants, contractors. Those types of people can find that data for them.
Yeah, that's right. But the most important thing is that, again, these silos, marketing and revenue, are also on the marketing side. So when you usually speak with a marketing or even web agency, they think from their standpoint. So I guess really the role of the hotel and the managers and the people who work at the hotel is to bridge as much as possible revenue, marketing, but also sales and also all other departments, because in the world also housekeeping is marketing in a way. And therefore we kind of need to connect them all.
Yeah. All right. That's great. Thank you, Alessandro.
Yeah, thank you. My pleasure. Bye bye.